Wednesday. It's about 8 a.m. I have to leave for work here in the next 45, 30-ish minutes. I don't have to be there until 9, but the office opens at 8:30, so I actually have some stuff to do now, so it might be good for me to get in a little early. I was gonna vlog this week. I forgot to start the vlog on Monday, and then I didn't vlog yesterday, obviously, so welcome to the vlog. I want to do weekly vlogs just because I don't have the schedule that I had when I was in school where I have a full day to like film things and catch up on my life because I work full time now. So I did start my job on Monday. Things are going great. I just wanted to quickly update you on what I'm reading this week. So I'm currently in the middle of 2 books. I have an audiobook, which is Where We Go From Here by Luca Rocha? I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm really sorry. I meant to look that up yesterday when I was on sprints and I forgot to. There's some really loud banging outside of my house and I don't know what it is. It reminds me, at first I thought it was thunder, but it's not. And then I thought it was like the garbage truck driving by, because you know how sometimes it like rattles and makes that really loud noise. But it's not that either because it keeps happening every once in a while. I don't know if it's like a dumpster lid that's being lifted and dropped. I'm not sure what it is, but it stresses me out every time I hear it because I'm like, what the heck is that? Anyways, Where We Go From Here is about these 3 men, Jan, and not Enrique. I'm listening to this as an audiobook too, and so the narrator does a really good job of doing the like Brazilian Portuguese accents. I don't speak Portuguese, so I'm not having the best time knowing what the names are, but I know it's Ian, but it's pronounced Jan. And then I'm not even sure what the other guy's name is, to be completely honest with you. But I just started it. I'm like 10% in. But I started listening to that last night on sprints. And again, it's about 3 gay men who, the start of the story is that 2 of them meet at an HIV clinic, or a clinic to get tested for HIV. And one of them is positive, one of them is negative. And then I think it just like follows their friendship and their lives from there. I think it's a good book to read because I don't read a lot of books about people who have HIV and live with HIV now. I mostly, like, the content that I consume that has HIV as a prominent part of it is from the 80s when HIV was a death sentence. And now it's not necessarily a death sentence because we have these, well, we don't have a cure. We have like medications that you can take that make your likelihood of passing the virus on very little or very low. So like almost 0%. And other things like that. So you can pretty much live a normal life with it. I'm sorry I'm like holding this with 2 hands now. My arms are getting tired. But that's what I'm reading. And then I'm also reading I'm Not Dying With You Tonight, which is by 2 authors and I can never remember their names. One of them is Kimberly something. The other one is Gilly or Jilly something. And this follows 2 girls on the night of a football game when like a fight breaks out at their football game. It's like the rival game. And then it turns into a riot. The preface said it was loosely based on the Rodney King riots, which is interesting, but also to me, there's nothing in the book that should have incited the riot the way that it is. So there's no stakes for me because it's like it went from 0 to 100 immediately. And now we're following these 2 girls who didn't know each other before. One is black, one is white, and they're trying to find their way home through the streets of it's Atlanta, but they're trying to figure out they're like overcoming their prejudices about each other and etc, etc, etc. I'm not loving it. I'm almost halfway through and I just find it okay. But yeah, so that's what I'm reading this week. I will keep you updated as I have updates on what I'm reading, and then hopefully I'll do some fun stuff that I can vlog so that this isn't just me talking for 5 days. House. I'm once again updating you for my kitchen because it's my favorite room in the house. I'm gonna turn on the light actually so you can see me. Is that better? I don't know. Hello, maybe I should turn off this light. I'm making dinner. I'm trying to make pinto beans. I have dried beans, so that means I have to soak them. I was supposed to soak them last night, overnight, and I forgot to do it. So I was gonna cook them in the slow cooker all day so they would be ready by now. It's like 5 o'clock, but I forgot to do that. So I did the thing where you like boil them on the stove and then you let them sit for an hour and then you cook them for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we'll see how that goes. But I wanted to hop on and say hi because I haven't spoken to this vlog since Wednesday morning, I think. And it's Friday evening. So this week has been kind of chaotic. Wednesday night, we actually had some friends over to play board games with us, and I made Indian food for all of us. which was really good. I made moong dal pakoda. I don't know how it's pronounced, so I'm really sorry because I know that's not it. I also made this like curried tomato soup thing that was a little thicker than soup, but it was like not quite, it didn't have chunks, it was smooth. I don't know if that makes sense. I did that and we served it with rice. And I made a cilantro date chutney. It was very delicious. I wish I took some footage, but again, we had people over and I feel weird vlogging with people around. So that's what I did on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, the like members organization for lawyers, it's called the Bar Association, my city's bar association hosted an event for us. So I went to that and met a bunch of other lawyers, which was really interesting and kind of fun. I don't know. I ended up staying way later than I thought I was going to. And I got home at like 10:30 and then we ended up staying up till midnight, just me and my fiance, because I didn't eat all day because I went straight from work to that thing. And they had like past hors d'oeuvres, but all of them had meat. And if you've been here for longer than a minute, you know that I don't eat meat. So I couldn't eat anything. But it was really fun. And I think they do it like once a month. So I'm excited to go again. But that's why I haven't vlogged. I also haven't really read much, to be honest. Yesterday morning, I finished I'm Not Dying With You Tonight, and as predicted, I gave it 3 stars. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, but rounded down to 3, because I round up to 4 a lot, and I just don't think it's necessary. I don't know. Because the way I, like, do my readings, I'm sorry I'm, like, walking around. Maybe I should set you down. Hold on. Okay, sorry for the change of scenery, but I went and got my, what is this called? My tripod, so that I could set you on something. And everything is crazy. Reading wise, I wanted to update you on what I've read. So I finished I'm Not Dying With You Tonight. I gave it 3 stars. It was fine. Nothing to write home about. Not my favorite. I honestly think if you want a book that covers the same themes as I'm Not Dying With You Tonight, I'm gonna recommend The Hate You Give. I think it's a better executed version of the story. I do think it's interesting in the author's note. It says that I'm Not Dying With You Tonight was based off of a group of high schoolers that got trapped at a riot. They were like in their school bus, and there was a riot in Baltimore, I think is where it is. And they got stuck on their school bus, and they had to figure out a way to get home from there because a riot started and they were stuck. And so that's what the book is like kind of based on. I still think that the way that the riot started doesn't make any sense. And it didn't seem like the fight at the school does make a whole lot of sense. I don't really get the characters' motivations. I get that they're in high school, but it just didn't hit the way I wanted it to hit, I guess. So I think The Hate You Give does a better job at tackling these kinds of themes and actually makes it about something rather than just being about 2 kids who don't get along before and now they're gonna have to hang out together, if that makes sense. So 3 stars for that one. I haven't listened to any more of the other book that I'm listening to. I did get an ebook of, gosh, I think it's called If You Leave Me by somebody Kim. Is it Hannah Kim? I don't know. I'll have a picture of it here so you can see it. But it's a historical fiction book, and I think it's set in Korea. I've not yet started it, but I do have an ebook of that. And I don't know what we're going to do this weekend, but I'm hopefully going to vlog a little bit more. So I will keep you updated as I have updates. Hi. So sorry I look kind of rough. I've been laying down in bed listening to an audiobook, but I've listened to just over halfway of, what is it called? Hold on, I'm gonna have to look up what it's called. Okay, it's called Where We Go From Here by Lucas Rocha. Rocha? I don't know. But I am just over halfway done with it now, and I gotta say, I'm really annoyed by the way the characters are behaving. So I think I've sort of talked about the premise, but basically Enrique and Victor hooked up, and Enrique is, you know this at the very beginning of the book, this is like the first thing you learn. Enrique is positive for HIV, but he has like a 0% chance of giving it to someone, so he didn't tell Victor until after they'd hooked up, and I think they used protection, but it's still like a big deal. So that's how Victor meets Ian, is Victor and Ian are both getting tested to see if they are positive, and Victor is negative and Ian is positive, and so Victor hooks Ian up with Enrique so that Enrique and Ian can like talk about being positive together, and so that he has like a support system. Sorry. But a lot of this book is about the relationship between the three of them, the friendships that they have with other people that are like external, and a lot of it is about how Enrique has HIV or is HIV positive, and Victor is having a really hard time wanting to be with him after finding out that he is positive. So it's a lot about that. And I will say, everyone was acting like Victor was wrong for being freaked out or paranoid after, like, having sex with someone who was HIV positive, because the guy who was HIV positive didn't, like, allegedly had a 0% chance of passing it on. I think I would still want to know, personally. And everyone's like, well, they don't owe it to you to tell you. And I'm like, I feel like you kind of do. I don't know. I feel like that's important, because, like, if he had transmitted it to him, he could literally sue him for that. So, I'm sorry to, like, lawyer up on it, but that's all I was thinking about the whole time I'm reading this. Also, Enrique, like, just takes everything the wrong way, blows everything out of proportion, and is, like, mean. He literally said some really horrible, mean things to Victor. Then when Victor confronted him about it and was like, hey, you left a message on my phone saying these mean things, and then what happened is, like, Enrique invites Victor to go out with him. Victor is late, so Enrique thinks he's not showing up, so he leaves him this really long voice message basically being like, fuck you, you're the worst, I hate you, you're so mean, you're so, like, self-obsessed and narcissistic that you wouldn't even date someone who's HIV positive, all this stuff. And Victor then shows up, and Enrique's like, shit, but Victor's phone dies, so he doesn't see that he said that stuff to him until the next day, after he spends the night at Enrique's house. And so they have a fight, and Enrique's like, well, I'm not going to apologize for saying that. Which, first of all, you should, because you were in the wrong. So I just hated it. They had, like, a fight, and they both did things that they weren't supposed to do, but Enrique is way more in the wrong to me than Victor is in this whole situation. And the author, you can tell, is clearly on Enrique's side, and I don't get it at all. So that's where I'm at with that. Sorry, this has been more of a long update than I wanted it to be. I think we're going to go to our friend Harpreet Akarsha's house tonight. They're having, like, an evening brunch. So we're going to have mimosas and brunch because they're moving. So we just moved here, and they're about to leave. So very sad, but, I mean, I'm happy for them to have their own lives and, like, do their own thing. But we're going to their apartment tonight to do that. And then, I don't know, I went to the farmer's market this morning. We got some fresh veg, which was good. We also got some local honey, which I'm excited about, because I threw our honey out when we moved because it was starting to crystallize. But it wasn't, like, that fancy of honey. It was sold in a store. I think it was, like, regionally local, but it wasn't, like, a local farm to us, which the honey that we bought today is a guy who has bees here where we live, which is really cool, and it's supposed to be really good for allergies. I also sound really, like, scratchy in my throat. Honestly, I think I just need to drink more water. So I might go do that. I edited my video that's supposed to go up tomorrow, and I just realized I forgot to edit the pictures into it so you could see, like, what book I was talking about. So I haven't decided if I'm going to re-edit it and add those in because it's exporting right now, or if I'm just going to upload it as is and say F it. I think I'm going to say F it, but we'll see. I'll let you know when I have another update, and I'll talk to you soon. Friends, it's Sunday. I am just chilling at home. Matt went to go pick up our grocery pickup order, so we'll have those tonight. I'm planning on making risotto for dinner because I never ended up making it last week. So I still have, like, asparagus and peas and the rice that I bought last week at the grocery store. But so that's what I'm gonna make for dinner tonight. But it's like 12:30 right now, or what, maybe later than that, honestly. I think his pickup appointment was at 1, so it's probably like 1:30. But I wanted to let you know that I have started If You Leave Me by Crystal Hannah Kim, and so far it's good. I'm not very far into it at all. I'm hoping to get a little bit more reading done today, and then this will be the last day of the vlog, but I did just want to let you know that I am starting that. I have not read anything more since I last talked to you. We ended up going to my friend's going away party last night, which was super fun. We took the streetcar up there, which was great. I think I got some clips of that, which was really fun to do. So, and then we went to Power and Light afterwards at some bars, which was pretty nice. I'm definitely really tired today, which you can probably tell, but I'm thinking it's going to be a good day to read in, or to sit inside and read, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about what If You Leave Me is about. So far, again, I'm not very far into it at all, but it's about these 16-year-old Korean kids who are living in a refugee camp. It's in the middle of a war. I'm not sure which war, and I don't know exactly when this story is taking place. I do know that it's post-World War II, but I think only just. So I'm wondering, it's sounding sort of like it's a civil war in Korea. I don't know if that's true. Again, I'm not the most historically minded person, so I'm not really totally sure, but I will let you know once I know more about it. But I'm liking it so far. I do think it's going to be kind of a, I don't know about like romance, but it does feel like it has a romantic element. So our main character and her really good friend from childhood are both in this refugee camp, and it's about their daily lives now, and they're sneaking out to hang out together. But in Korea at this time, you were supposed to have a matchmaker and an arranged marriage. And so I know our main character is a Korean girl, and I don't know how to pronounce her name, that's why I'm not saying it. I'm hoping to figure it out at some point. But she has another suitor who it sounds like he's going to come in and sort of disrupt the relationship she has with this childhood friend that she has, and then I'm wondering if it's going to be a story about them coming back together. So I will let you know as I have more updates, but so far it's beautifully written, and it seems like it's going to be a really moving story, so I'm really excited to be reading that. Okay, excuse the boxes behind me. I've still got to figure out what I'm going to do with all of these empty boxes. This one actually has bedding in it, and I found out we have a linen closet, which seems like, how could you not know you have a linen closet? But there's a door that wouldn't open, and it's because we live in a really old house, and the doors, none of them have like, you know, normally a door will have like a click closure because it has, I don't know what it's called, but like a thing right there. None of the doors in this house have that. They all have knobs, but you just push the door closed, and I think something with like the weather made the wood like swell a little bit, so it was stuck. But once our AC got to working, we realized we could just open this door, and it's not that hard to open. But because when I turned the knob, nothing happened, I just assumed that the door was locked or like broken or something, but no. It is in fact a linen closet, so we can use that. So I have to put the bedding that's over here in that closet at some point. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking you've lived in this house for like 2 weeks now. Why haven't you unpacked everything? It just is what it is. It's crazy here. But I wanted to update you that I switched to the audiobook that I'm listening to, which is Where We Go From Here by Lucas Rocha? I don't know. Rocha? I don't know how it's pronounced. Again, it's Portuguese. I'm really sorry. But I think I've like identified a couple of the reasons that I'm not absolutely loving this book as much as I wanted to, because I feel like it's written okay. One thing is the book is relatively short. It's only like 250 pages. But because of that, you don't really get the complexity of the relationships that you would get in a longer book. So it's told from 3 different perspectives, which I think I've touched on before. And they're all like first person perspectives, which you would think would give you more insight into the character's mind. But it really doesn't. All of the characters read very flat and one-dimensional, which just to me makes it harder to differentiate between them. And honestly, a lot of the book is focused on the relationship between Victor and Enrique, and how like Enrique is positive, HIV positive, and he didn't tell Victor until after they had sex. And then Victor was really nervous about it, but Enrique has been using this treatment that makes him basically have a 0% chance of passing it on to someone. And so he didn't think it was that big of a deal. I am with Victor on this. I think that's a really big deal to say to someone, because it's like, just ethically to me, I feel like you should tell somebody about that. I just don't think you should have sex with someone and not tell them. Even if you use protection, like all of that. I just think it makes sense to me that Victor was like upset with Enrique when he didn't tell him. But anyways, a lot of the book focuses on their relationship and the things that they say to each other, and like them sort of having this breakup, and they sort of like have a get back together, and then they're like having issues or whatever. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't care about it. Like, I feel like the L word has been used. Like, one of the characters has told the other one that he loves him. And my thing is, we as the reader did not get to see any of their relationship except for these fights that they're having. So I don't feel like they love each other. I don't get it. I don't understand why they're still trying to make it work. I don't understand the appeal of their relationship for them, because we don't get any of that. And I think that's a big problem that I'm having with this book. And I know that that's not supposed to be the focal point of the book, but also that is the focal point. That's what it's focused on. So I don't understand, like, I don't care about it, because it's not written in a way that I feel like I will start to care about the characters. But right now I'm going through my makeup, so I'm going to continue listening to it probably, and then hopefully finish it, and then I will let you know what I decide about it. When I say going through my makeup, I mean, I have this box, which has like a journal in it, but this is like where I keep my makeup. It's usually in a chest of drawers that's right there. But then I get out makeup that I want to use for the week, It's like shopping my stash. I used to make videos about it. I don't make videos about it anymore because frankly, no one really cares and I'm narrowing down my content. Sunday night dinner is a big pot of risotto with peas and asparagus. Yum! Good morning. I am getting ready for work, but I just wanted to update the vlog because I just finished Where We Go From Here by Lucas Roca, and I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. So I have a lot of not problems with this book, but I really liked the concept of the book, and I liked a lot of the messaging of the book, but I felt like the main plot points would have been better served in a different order. I understand that I think I've already talked about how it annoys me that we didn't really get, not annoys me, but I felt disconnected from the actual romance plot because we don't really get any of their story. We just get their fallout, and they say that they really love each other, they really care about each other, but we don't really, as the reader, get to see much of that, which is frustrating for me. Because I don't like it when that kind of thing happens. It doesn't feel like anything, especially since it kind of seemed like they just started talking just before the book started, and then now they're saying that they really care about each other, which I just didn't feel like was developed at all. The other thing I will say is the main plot that happens in this book happens about more than 2/3 the way in. Something dramatic happens, and I think this plot would have been better served if we had gotten more time between that big thing happening and the fallout of that. So we get the big thing happens, there's 20-30 pages of fallout. I'm listening to it as an audiobook, so I'm not sure exactly how that went, but that's what it felt like, and then the book is over. And I think it would have been better if the fallout had happened during the book and we got to see the characters actually grappling with this thing, because as it read, it was very too quick and very cheesy almost. So didn't love that book. I would like to hear if you did love that book. I know a lot of people really liked it. I think it has really good HIV positive representation for people, so I think maybe if that's something you're looking for, you might want to check this out. But also I think there are probably books that do it better, just based on the fact that there are better books about the topic, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm at with that one. I also, last night, our Wi-Fi is out in our house right now. I don't know if I've already said that. It went out yesterday at some point during the day, and it's been out all day. We have Google Fiber, and they're supposed to be coming by today to fix it, and my fiance is going to be here to deal with that because I have work. But I spent all day reading because I couldn't do anything else, and I read 60% of If You Leave Me by Crystal Hannah Kim, and I'm loving it. I love that book so far. So I think I've already mentioned I'm not going to be good at pronouncing the characters' names because they're Korean names and I don't speak Korean, and I'm trying to. So the girl's name is Haimi, I think is how it's pronounced. That's how I've been pronouncing it, Haimi or Haimi. And then there's a guy Jisoo and a guy whose name I'm going to butcher, but it's Kyungh something. So I've been pronouncing it Kyunghai in my head, but I don't think that's right. So take that with a grain of salt, take that for what it is, I guess. But essentially the premise is that Haimi and Kyunghai were childhood friends, and at the beginning of the book, a Korean Civil War has broken out between the Soviet Union, China, and North Korea, and then South Korea, where the main characters all are, and so they flee their hometowns to Busan, or Busan, I don't know how it's pronounced either, I'm really sorry. But they, on the way there, Haimi realizes that Kyunghai is this guy she knew when she was a kid, and they reconnect. I think they're 15 when they leave and go to the village. We pick up the story about a year after that. So she and Kyunghai are still hanging out, and then Jisoo is Kyunghai's dad's cousin's son, so they call themselves cousins, but then it's a big point throughout the book that they're not actually cousins, but it's everyone else in their family is dying or has died, and so they're just latching onto whatever family they have left. And so Jisoo is courting Haimi, and she's sort of letting it happen, because he's from a very wealthy family in Seoul, and she's from like a small town near-ish to Seoul, I assume, but I don't know. And she's, obviously everyone else is like extremely poor during this time, but Jisoo still has some of his family's money. And so it's really good for her and her sick brother and her mother, who are all like very poor. Her father has died. It's good for her to have this match, which he's not actually a match. They don't use a matchmaker or do any of like the traditional things, but he's courting her. And then Kyung-hae, his cousin, they like didn't communicate that he likes her, and he and Jaime have actually been like sneaking out at night and hanging out together. So that's like the premise of the book. And something happens, and Jaime has to like leave Kyung-hae, accept Jisoo's offer of marriage, and then Jisoo and Kyung-hae both go off to fight in the war. They both enlist. And so we're sort of following them like from a different perspective, a year at a time in the future, and getting different points of view of all these things that have happened. And now it's been 12 years since this has happened. So like we're learning about their lives, Jaime and Jisoo's life together. We're learning about what happened during the war. We're learning about how people ended up in different places. We're also following Jaime's younger brother, Kyung-hae, I think is his name. I don't remember. I'm really sorry about the name thing. But we're following her younger brother and like his life. We get some of his perspective and how he's getting caught up in political movements now that he's growing up, because he's quite a bit younger than her. So I think just now they're all close to 30 and he is like not even 20. I think he like might be 20, but he might be like 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there. So I'm really liking the way the story is going. One of the things I really, really like about it is Jaime as a character talks a lot about how as a woman she like didn't get a choice in her life, and like she did, but they were all superficial choices. There's a big thing when Jisoo really wants to have a son, and Jaime says, I get to decide whether or not I have children. And he basically says, no, you don't. And she talks about how like unfair it is that her body could betray her when it's something that she doesn't want. She can't like control what her body does, and like growing a child, which I think if that's going to be like something that you don't want to read about, it might be hard for you to read. But I just think it's a really interesting look about like womanhood and the struggle for a woman being her own person. And then Jaime and Jisoo have some daughters, and it follows a lot of their like oldest daughter. We get some of her perspective now that she's like growing up, and so we hear a lot about how like she interprets the world, and she's gonna have a very different life from her mother, because her mother had to stop school when her dad died, and she had to take care of her sick brother, and then the war broke out, so she hasn't been in school since she was like 12, I think. And her daughter is probably going to get to go to college. So it's about how like she wanted that life and her kid is going to get it. So I think it's a lot about how like generations get better, or get the things that their parents wanted for them. There's a lot of that going on. There's also a lot of talk about like imperialism, because Korea was run by Japan for a while, or conquered by Japan and dictated by Japan until World War II, I think. I don't know all the history in that. I only know it from this book. So take that with a grain of salt as well if you know more about it than I do. But they talk about that, and then how they like traded that for the Americans being involved in their lives. There's a lot of like mentionings of the political movements at the time, but it doesn't really like stay on that very long, because the perspectives that we get don't necessarily think about that, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm loving it, and I hopefully will finish it today, so I can have my final thoughts at the end of this vlog. But if not, I will just come by and close out the vlog when I'm ready to. I did decide to extend this vlog to Wednesday, because I think, or to Tuesday, and then I'm going to pick up tomorrow with my next weekly vlog on Wednesday again to Tuesday, because then Bookopoly-thon starts, and my plan for Bookopoly-thon is to do like the mood reader version. I honestly, I'm going back and forth between two things, because I thought about just using my Starry cards and doing that to like combine the games, but I think I might just do like mood readers Bookopoly-thon, which means that I like roll the dice, get a prompt, pick a book, read that book, and then do it again. So I don't like pick a number of books that I'm going to read at the beginning of the month. I think that might be a better thing for me to do, because I don't know how much time I'm going to have, because work is going to pick up and stuff, and I'm going to find out if I'm actually a lawyer next month, so that's really exciting. That is my update. I will let you know when I finish Where You Go From Here. And also, if I download another audiobook, I will let you know what I download and what I think about it. Hi, friends. It's like 13 hours since my last update, I think. And I have finished If You Leave Me by Crystal Hannah Kim. I don't know how I feel about the ending. I feel like there were like kind of two ways the story could have gone, and I feel like it went in a very sad direction. I still really love my reading experience of it. I'm just saying that I'm not sure what I'm going to read it yet. I have not yet decided what I'm going to read it. I finished it a few hours ago when I got home from work, and I've been kind of hoping I could marinate on it and decide what I was going to rate it in time to tell you, but I still don't know. It'll either be 4 or 5 stars. I just am not sure at this moment exactly how I feel about it. But I'm going to leave this vlog here. Thank you so much for watching it. If you made it to this point, comment a flower emoji down below. There are flowers on the cover of If You Leave Me, that's why. But let me know if you've read any of these books and how you felt about them. I hope you enjoyed a week in my reading life, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye!